So now, before we start with the whole VPN scenario over here, so one thing that we need to understand is that, one is going to be the, one part of our whole, this VPN infrastructure is going to be our next particular, what we will say, it is going to be the your cloud part, right? And when I'm talking about the VPN, and I think it should be pretty much clear when I'm saying that we have to deploy the VPN, what we are talking about is the VPN that we will be applying, that is going to be in the your okay cloud, right? That's why we are learning about the cloud. So whenever we will be talking about the your machine and deploying a VPN, so VPN will be deployed onto the cloud side, because in this one there is going to be two side. I'm starting with the VPN, and VPN also, if I just give you a bit of a brief, VPN, right? So we use it to create a tunneling between your on-prem and, let's say, nowadays everyone is working from home, right? So you want a secure connection between your on-prem and your home, user or any other site, right? So what you do, you want to create a tunneling protocol, in between. So you want a secure communication over the public network, right? You want the, there could be hundreds of your employee working from the different location. You want all of them communicate with your resources which is on the on-prem securely, but all of them, they are, on the different place, so they will be communicating through the internet, which is an public network, which you can consider unsecure, right? Now insecure over there. So here what is happening, this was your site, so you create a tunnel where it will feel like for these people who will be accessing your on-prem resources, that they are sitting in the, your actual office and accessing them. So even you can access your resources on the private IP addresses as well, and all this become possible with the VPN. Now VPN can be of two type. One could be your point to site, okay, where you are having these people sitting different, and they are communicating with your on-prem. Second could be between your, in your office, what is happening, you have two location, one and two. So you have these location and you want to connect your Bangalore office. Let's say that one office was in the Bangalore, one office was in the your, let's say, the London, right? You want to come, connect both of them. So you'll be connecting them via the VPN itself, and they can communicate with each other, seamlessly, and feel like that they are part of the same network over there, right? So this is going to be the your VPN, which we are discussing at this particular point. Now, first part of this is going to be the cloud part. So I'm just directly, guys, I'm just taking you into the site to site. Okay, I'm not taking you to the point to site. Point to site one will be in my 104 video. I will give you, once you will be see this thing, I will be giving you the bit of the idea regarding the same. Okay. Hmm. So when we will be talking about this thing, what is going to happen is, hmm, okay, we are at this point. This is the one of your VPN. So okay, sorry, I would want to deploy a particular virtual machine in here. Okay, this, let's say that this is going to be my, any that production machine. This is that one. Now this always going to be the part of your what. So what we will be having, this is always going to be the, this here, it is going to be the part of your subnet, right? So we have to deploy it on a particular subnet. So we have different subnets in here, so I'll be talking about some of the prerequisite for the VPN, but first we have to understand that this is the cloud side, that what we are talking about. So I'm just writing it. This is, just to tell you that this is what this, I'm going to call it production VNet. Okay, production virtual net, which is where, on your cloud, on the Azure. Okay, this is one side. So in site to site connection, one side our is in the your cloud. So this is my VPN. Oh, sorry, this is my virtual network. This is in the cloud. And remember, VPN will be also deployed in the your cloud itself. So this one is my production VM. Okay. And this say, let's say that this is the part of my subnet, and let me call that subnet the subnet 0, for example, subnet 0, right? So this is production VM is part of the subnet 0. Now what we require is actually to deploy a VPN, you also going to require a subnet, and in that subnet only and only your VPN should be deployed. And specifically the name of that is going to be the gateway subnet. Okay, the name is going to be the gateway subnet, exactly like this. And this is where you will be deploying your VPN. So your VPN will be deployed onto this particular part, right? So this is going to be deployed onto this particular part itself, right? So this is the my VPN which will be deployed in this gateway subnet. So this is my VPN, right, which you will be deploying over here, right? So this is the cloud's end that you are going to get. Okay, this is the first part. Then there is going to be the second part of this, which will be, in this case, what we are going to talk about. We will be saying that in this particular case scenario, it is your to let's just give it the name on-prem, right? I'm just simply saying that this is my on-prem. So let's say that this time you want to connect your on-premise department over here to your cloud with through the VPN on-prem, right? So okay, I think up to this point everything makes sense, right? Simple things. So we have to understand when we are talking about the VPNs in any of the cloud courses, we are talking about the resources which is going to be deployed onto the your cloud front, right? So that means VPN will be also deployed over here. Now, when we are talking about the your deploying the your what we say, when we are talking about the deploying the VPN in the with the site to site format, and in the your particular on-prem VPN inside gateway. Okay, we this is not the gateway, it is just the subnet. Okay, subnet is subnet name will be the gateway subnet. It's just the subnet name, it is not a gateway. Okay, it's name a subnet, right? It's just the name of the subnet over there. It is not regarding the same thing. So yes, as we were talking about this whole VPN part over here, so what we are going to do, so this is going to, I will be showing you this thing practically. So these are the two subnets. One is with the name subnet 0, another is with the name of your subnet, oh sorry, gateway subnet. Okay, over there. So what we have in on premise, what you will be requiring, actually we are going to if you want to deploy a VPN and have a connection over here, so we will be requiring, we will be wanting some hardware router or a software device. In your on-prem we will be requiring some hardware device or a software router which can act as a software device which can act which has the ability to work, having to route the data to your Azure virtual network. Either you will be requiring some hardware device, if I put some points, hardware device or a software device, or I will say it's a software based device which can route the traffic, software like any device to software device to route the traffic to Azure virtual network. This will be some requirement. So you will be either requiring some Cisco based devices which where you can define that, okay, if traffic is coming from this public IP and mean this means this is allowed or this is what is not allowed. So you have to define a whole path over here, right? So you will be requiring to do those hardware or software based settings onto the particular part, and that's why we are going to require this thing, hardware or software device, to route the traffic to Azure virtual network. So this is the one thing that you'll be requiring. Now, in the on-prem as well, what is going to be in there? So both of them, because what they have to do, on-prem has to communicate with the VPN, and how they will be communicating, as I was saying, over the public network. And to access the public network, what you will be requiring? Public IP, right? So you will be requiring public IP address. Plus, with that, what you are going to have the private IP ranges as well in your organization, right? So that is also there. Same here as well. In here, this VPN, if it want to connect over this on-prem, it also going to require a public IP address, and it is also part of this VNet. So means it is also going to have the your private IP address. And a simple term, in the very layman term, if we have to understand the communication, how things happen, if one person is sending to the another person any data or packets, so they should be knowing that they have to send it through the post office, right? And if they want, no one can understand their data, so what they will be doing, they will be using some encryption method. Okay, and they will be using, let's say, the public transport over here. And then what you usually people, what they do inside, if they are putting something, they might be wrapping it with the bubble cover or something like that, to hide something and to protect something. And they will be understanding each other's language. So similarly, in the VPN term, when these two parties want to communicate, they need to understand what they have as a public IP and private IP address ranges, so that they can know from which particular device, of with this, if someone, the traffic is coming with the your private, containing the private IP address as well. So they are also communicating over there. So when a successful connection will be there, this machine, let's say that someone from the on-prem wants to go ahead and want to access the, let's say that I install the IIS server in here. I think I have already done this thing, that I install the IIS server on this one. So if someone sitting here on-prem want to access the server, so rather than typing its private IP, because you have established a VPN connection, you can access it on the private IP address itself. For example, 10.0.0.4, right? So you can access that like this as well. So when this will be possible, when you both of you will be aware about each other's private IP address range, then only it is going to be possible for you to go ahead and work with the your same, right? So this is why the private IP address is both of them, you will be seeing how they will be knowing about each other's public IP address and private IP address. So this is a kind of a thing that is a requirement. Okay, now I don't have a physical a station where I can replicate these things. So what I am going to do is, to replicate this whole environment, I will be having a cloud in where I will be deploying this production VNet. Okay. So again, in the cloud, I will be deploying another VNet with the name on-prem, and I will be deploying, because I am requiring some hardware device or a software device which can route the traffic. So if you have seen in the Windows Server 2019, we have the feature of that routing your traffic, enabling the VPN, right? So I'm going to use that feature that will be working as the software device based device for me, which is able to route the traffic. So although I am creating this VM, on-prem VM, in your cloud, but just assume that this is on the your this is on your cloud. Okay, just assume that. So this is going to be in there, right? Okay, so this is the one thing that what we will be doing. Now let's just go ahead and let me just show you what I have done. So first of all, let me minimize this thing. And in here, if I will be going there, this is the on-prem VM. Okay. And then similarly, there would be one machine with the name workload. So on-prem and the production. Yep. Production. Yeah, this is the production VM. Okay, this is the production VM here. Now, if you will see, on-prem is on the different location. It is in the South Central US, which is in the stopped state right now. I need to start it. This is in the South Central US. So assume this one, this is your one on-prem machine that is there, right? Now, we are going to treat it like the on-premise one. And this is my production VM, which is my cloud-based machine, which is in the West US. So in the West US itself, I need to deploy the VPNs and all, right? And hopefully I have deployed it in the West US. Let me just check quickly. Then that's good, right? Because many time what I have done in the demos that I deployed some other location, and then again we have to wait for that whole 30-40 minute to sit and look into the things. So this is two machines that we have already created, right? Even though I have deployed the VPN, but I will be talking about this thing, that why we have done that. So for this one, let's just do one thing. Same point that I have discussed, let me show you over the slides as well. Okay, so here this is the your again slide. So here if you will see that it is talking the same thing, that VPN gateways, okay, and we call them in the Azure Virtual Network Gateway. So this is the one part, VNet in the East US, and you want to establish it with the your on-premise site. So you can create IPsec, IKE, S2S, VPN tunnel, then you can go ahead and select the VNet. You can create a VNet, sorry, a VPN gateway here, and you can connect it with your on-premise over here. So site to site connect on-premise data center to Azure Virtual Network. Then it give you the three kind of the connection. This will be having the three options here: site to site connection. One is going to be the VNet to VNet connection. That would be connecting one VNet to another VNet. So I think you will be familiar that two VNet cannot directly communicate with each other, right? Like a private one. So although if in the West US I deploy the two VNet, they are not going to communicate with each other directly, like although they both are the part of the your Azure Azure cloud, and they are both part of the West US, but they are not going to communicate with each other. So there are different method. I think this is more extensive method, I would say. Usually we are not going to prefer this one, but if you want to establish a VNet to VNet connection as well, you can establish through the VPN. And third kind of connection it give is point to site connection, right? Means simply the user can go ahead and work over there, right? No, Dev, we don't require the VPN for the VNet peering. So we will be doing that VNet peering as well. Okay, so this is the something. So this is another method apart from the VNet peering. This is the second method to connect your VNet to VNet. Okay, this is the second methodology. Okay, so this is the VPN gateways. Now, second is how it is talking about the implementation, that what you have to do: create a VNet. This is optional part. Create the gateway subnet, which I was talking. Create the VPN gateway. Create the local network gateway. This all you have to do on the Azure side. On the on-prem, what you have to do: configure your VPN device, and then create a your VPN connection over there. The on-premise, like I was telling, you will be requiring some hardware based device where you can define all your routes over there, right? So those things will be required. Now, creating the gateway subnet. This is going to be the important part. Like if in the production VNet, I have already done this, but how to do this in the other VNet as well, I will be telling you. If I will open this VNet on the new tab, I go in here. So what you will find is, okay, so if you go to the subnet option, okay, so what you have to do is, usually you create the subnet 0 like this, but you will see that one thing is being grayed out. One subnet is created with the name gateway subnet, and I didn't create it manually. Every virtual network in the subnet is going to have this option, gateway subnet. You just have to click on this button. It will give you the particular name and configuration as well, and it is preferred by the Microsoft that it will be only having either the /27 or /28 as the CIDR notation. Okay, so this is something that is recommended by the Microsoft. You can have the /24 as well, okay, but not less than /28 /27, right? So this is something that is there. So if you will see, just to give you the example, if we go on to the virtual network part, let me pick any other virtual network. Okay, this is that AZ500 VNet one, where we have deployed the our application gateway. So if I go to the subnet section here, so can you see on the top I am having this gateway subnet button. So on the cloud end, okay, in this design, on the cloud end where you want to deploy this VPN, you need to create a separate gateway, that is this gateway subnet, and this will be the automatically giving you the name, because name should be exactly like this, and the subnet you will be defining with the same name. You are not going to deploy any other resource in this, right? Only VPN related resource will be deployed over here. So when you create a VPN, actually what is happening, some VM and all the machines related to that is going to deploy on this subnet over here. So you will be selecting it, you will be making it like this /27/28, and then click on save, and it will be creating a gateway subnet over there. Okay, just for the example, I'm just creating this just to give you the one example over here, like /27, and click on save this one, right? So we will be creating the subnet like this. Now what is the feature regarding the subnet? You can see here it is talking in the diagram as well, same, that gateway subnet will be this. So gateway subnet consisting the IP address, contain the IP address, if possible use a CIDR block of /28 or /27. So when you create a gateway subnet, gateway VM are deployed to the gateway subnet and configured with the required VPN gateway settings, right? So this is going to be in there. Then this is the never deploy other resources or additional VM to the gateway subnet over here as well. Yes, only under the gateway subnet. This is the mandatory step. You cannot go and work with this one. So, with the your it is recommended by the Microsoft, both of them require the separate one. You will be going ahead, you will be finding firewall require their own separate, your bastion server will be requiring their own separate subnet. These kind of the things are mandatory. So create a VPN gateway subnet, the name should be same, and exactly only this thing will be there. So this is a mandatory thing to deploy the VPN over here. Then you have to do the configuration. So you will see the configuration page will look something like this. You have to provide the name, which region you are going to deploy it, what kind of the gateway it is, VPN or ExpressRoute. Okay, and then VPN type, it is route based or policy based. Then there will be SKUs. Okay, SKUs is like, I think, I don't know that whether I discussed these SKUs with you or not, but SKUs is like your mobile phone plans, cell phone providers plan, like that. Like how much you want, like I'm running on a plan which is giving me the 1.5 gigs per day, right? Unlimited free call for the day, and every day I'm getting the 100 SMS free as well, right? So this is something that is my plan. So you can choose your own plan as well. So this is just like those plans, that what you want for your VPN. And then there are two generation 1 and the generation 2. Okay, what will be the difference? When the chart I will be showing you in the next slide, you will be understanding that. Then you're selecting your virtual network where you want to deploy this VPN. Then this is something like BGP, if you want to configure that. Usually right now, I'm saying no. And then there is active mode. So this also I will be talking a bit later, this active mode. Okay, it is pretty much similar to your like yesterday I was talking about the active passive in the load balancer. It is that particular part that what we are talking about. Okay, so here you can see most VPN type are going to be your route based. Okay, so your choice of gateway SKUs are affecting the number of connection you can have, and the aggregate throughput benchmark means each plan that you will be choosing and generation you will be choosing, that will be defining how many connection you can have and how many things you can have. Okay, broad bandwidth you can have, that kind of a thing. Then associate a virtual network that includes the gateway subnet. You'll be there having that virtual network, and gateway needs a public IP address. These are the some basic part that I think I have given you overview. Now that route type that we were discussing, so first is going to be the route type. So what is going to be in there, that active I will be discussing bit later. Okay, for the guys, what is happening, okay, if you want to know about that active part, what is that active is doing? When you deploy VPN deploy two instance of it. Okay, so that just in case if anything happen with the one VPN, it is down, another within few seconds. If there is a planned maintenance within 30 seconds, another, your VPN can take over and start handling the things. And for any unplanned maintenance, it can take up to the 5 minutes to switch between the your VPNs. So this is something that is going to be in there, right? So this is going to be on the here. Yes, that will be mirroring the BGP configuration as well, Dave, right? So that is going to mirror the same. Okay. Right. So this is the that active section that you are seeing. Then two type of the things you are seeing. One is the route base. So route base is based on that IP forwarding packet, based on the routing table, and mostly we will be using this thing that defining the routing table and forwarding the packet through that directly forwarding the packet. It support protocols like IKE v2, and we can use the dynamic routing protocols as well in here. While policy base is there, why this option is there, it support IKE v1 only. Okay, and it is for the legacy on-premise VPN devices. If you want to connect them on the policy base, you have some legacy VPN devices on your on-premise, then you have to select this one. Usually most of the devices, I think nowadays, focused on the route based VPN, right? Doing the IP based forwarding, creating a path here, okay, and just feeding the path, defining a path, and then work around all this thing. So this will be over there. And policy based, you can see that it will be encrypting and direct packet through the IPsec tunnel based on the IPsec policies, and it will be supporting only the IKE v1 protocol. Okay, so this is the difference between the both.